Hello and welcome, Crosstown Gamer, back at it again. Here we are, continuing our playthrough of Falling Sky, the Gallic Revolt Against Caesar, Volume 6 in the Coin series. And we just finished up our first winter card, and, excuse me, this is kind of the lay of the land here. I've flipped back over all of the warbands and auxilia back to their hidden side. But we had to requisition all of our forces back down to Provincia, or as much as we could, which was very few. Most of them were still out on the map, but we rolled exceptionally well and got to keep a lot of forces there. So that's kind of where we're at. The Belgic player is doing really poorly, so I think because the Arverni and the Aedui player are a little closer to their victory conditions, hopefully now we can focus more on this part of the map and not worry so much about up there. Especially while Vercingetorix is away, way locked away at the top of the map there. So hopefully we can get that going. The first card after the winter card was played is going to be Sacking. And it looks like the Arverni are up first. So let's see what they're going to do. Is Vercingetorix or 10 plus Arverni warbands where the Romans or Aedui have an ally Citadel Legion? No, this isn't true because they are not in any spaces where they're actually coexisting with the Aedui or the Roman player except for right here, and they only have one warband there. So this is a no. Can they play the sequence of, can they play the event? Yes. Is it ineffective or no Arverni or in the final year? This is actually going to be a yes too. I was just reading the card right before turning the camera on, but it's got the symbol that says it's an auto yes, like it would happen regardless, but we want to check to see if it would be effective at all first. And they will use the shaded region. They almost always use the shaded region. It says, if a legion where your citadel, remove the legion and Romans ineligible through the next card. They have two citadels, here and here. And in both of those citadels, there aren't any Roman pieces at all, much less legions. So this wouldn't be effective. And I don't think it just counts as being effective if it's just making the Romans ineligible. I think they're going to actually take a turn rather than do an event which doesn't actually benefit them at all. So yes. See, normally that symbol would mean they would automatically play the event rather than having to roll for it. We're going to skip down here. Are there 0 through 8 warbands on the map? No, but would a rally place 2 plus allies, citadels, or 6 plus pieces? So we're looking for areas on the map where the Arverni have control, and there are places to put allied tribes or citadels. And they could place allied tribes here, here, here. It looks like they can't place a citadel, but that's already we've determined that yes, they could place 2 plus allied pieces or allies. So that's a yes. Wherever possible, they're going to focus on citadels first. I don't see a spot on the map where they could do that. There's only a couple more spots left. So moving on to allies, and they're going to do this wherever they're able to place a piece. So there's no limit. The only limit is the number of resources they have, which is currently at 10. So anywhere where they're able to place a piece, they can place a piece here. They place an ally here. They can place warbands here. They can place an ally here. Because they only need control to place the allies, and they need allied tribes or citadels to place pieces. So let's get the pawns out. I haven't done that in a while, which I should be using for all of these. We're going to go here, here. In fact, I think it's just everywhere that the Arverni basically have control. Because up here, they can't place an allied tribe or citadel, but they can place warbands, because they have allied tribes and Vercingetorix is there. So I think those are the 5 locations on the map where they're able to do it. So let's go ahead and do that. It costs, I believe, 1 resource. Let me just verify, and then 2 if it's devastated. Yeah, 1 resource per region. So this will cost them 5 resources, half of their store on the very first card. But I think it's still a good plan for them because they need a bunch more allied tribes to be able to win the game, and they only need 1 more off-map legion. So they paid their thing, their resources, so they're going to put an allied tribe down there. I guess technically we could roll to see which one they wanted to do, but I don't think it functionally even matters at all. Same with these. So they're just going to place there, there, and there. And we'll remove them as we go. And then the other 2 are going to be placing warbands. That's the 3rd priority on the flow chart there. It was citadels, allies, and then warbands. And the warband says that it's equal to the number of allied tribes plus 1. Or, okay, place warbands equal to, yeah, city. Replace with citadel. Oh, yeah. Okay. Sorry, I was reading this along with me here just to make sure we're doing it correctly. So, whether there's control or Vercingetorix, so that's what we're doing. Replace with an ally or citadel, and place warbands equal to the number of allies plus 1. Or, okay, yeah, or equal to, oh yeah, so it's, sorry, I'm just digesting this because it's slightly different than the other ones. In this, basically Vercingetorix counts as an ally or citadel. So we get to count up all the number of allies, citadels, and leaders, and then add a +1 to that, and then place that number of warbands. So, for example, here they have 2 allies and 1 leader, so that's 3 things. So they can place that +1, which is 4. They get to place 4 warbands, which is insane. Now they just got tons of forces up there. Might have to use the overflow card after all. Down here they just have 2, so add a 1 to that, makes it a 3. And so 1, 2, 3. And there we go. That was their rally action. Next we look at, whoa, out of control. What do they do after that? They are going to devastate. In each region we're able to force the removal of a legion. So remember with devastate, they're picking a place to put a devastate marker, and then what they're going to do is start removing, I think it's 1 in 4 of their own pieces, and then 1 in 3 of everything else. So yeah, they're going to remove some pieces from the board, and then place a devastated marker. So they're only going to do that if they're able to force removal of a legion. Well, they're not coexisting with any legions, so that's not going to happen. Or at least as many Roman plus Aedui pieces as Arverni. So the only place where they would remove any pieces at all, or they coexist with Roman and Aedui pieces, is down here. And they would remove 0 of their own, because it's 1 in 4, and 0 of the Aedui player. So that's also, that's equal, and it does say at least as many pieces as Arverni, so it sounds to me like that's what they're going to do. They're going to devastate there. I don't think it's the wisest decision, but we're taking the literal letter of the law here. So they need at least as many pieces, and 0 is at least as many as 0. So I think that's what they're going to do. So to do that, again, we already checked. I just want to see if there was a cost associated. No cost. So they're just going to place a devastated marker. Yeah, and it's just to make sure. Also, it's any Arvernier controlled. Oh no, it has to be within one Vercingetorix. So that's not going to happen because it's not up here, and these aren't Arvernier controlled. So this is a none. None. Boop. Then they're going to entreat. So, bit of a thing. They're going to replace enemy allies with Arverni. Hopefully Aedui first, then Belgic, then... I don't think they're in any good spots to do that, but... Entreat. This is similar to Suborn, I think, for the Aedui player. Regions with hidden Arverni and within one of Vercingetorix. So the only location possible is up there in the north. Because Vercingetorix is still up there. And that's the only one that satisfies this thing. So they're going to replace a warband or auxilia or an ally with its Arverni counterpart. So that's kind of weak sauce. I don't know if they're going to do this. First, they're going to replace any allies. Both the allies there are already Arverni allies, so then they're going to replace other enemies with Arverni. Auxilia or Aedui only? No. Then they're going to remove, once Arverni is not available. To replace. Yeah. Okay, if none, this is a none as well because none of these are there, and there are Arverni still available in the available forces box. So if none, or if they marched, they didn't do that. No special ability. So we are just going to forego the special ability. And you know what's interesting, though, is normally you would... I think we ran into this with Cuba Libre, too. They didn't actually get to do... They could have done a special ability, but they didn't. So they don't get to go here. So I think they're going to go up here, which means that we, since we're second eligible, are going to have a limited command. I guess it wouldn't have mattered anyway, because I don't think we were going to do the event. So we would have had a limited command regardless. So, limited command. We don't want to pass either, because we're not going to go on the next card. Yeah, we can place a raised marker. Oh, it would have been interesting to do the event, actually, to get a bunch more resources. I'm just worried about it. But if the Arverni and the Belgic player are so low on resources as it is, I'm hoping that we can make things work. Anyway, what we want to do, I think we want to start marching in. So the Arverni player is at 8 allies or citadels. So they only need one more and then one more Fallen Legion, and they'll be winning the game. So I'm a little alarmed about that. Also, when they placed these 3 allied tribes, that did take away from our score because those are no longer subdued. So I think we need to go in here and kick some tail. So the question is, do we want to rally first and get some more forces, or do we just want to say screw it and march into this region anyway? And 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. As long as we went in with 6 things, we would take control of this region, and we would be able to plop down allied tribes of our own. So I think that's what we'll do. Let's look at our handy sheet. So March costs 2 resources per region, and Auxilia go to hidden. We can move up to 2. Yeah, we can move farther than that, but I think that's a good spot. It's got a citadel, so actually, it might be better for us to march through. Take a bunch of forces, march to here, march through to here. We're going to be deep in enemy territory. there's not a lot going on over here. We can easily take this over, and we wouldn't have to worry about the Citadel having the losses of anything that we take over. Though, we do want to take control of this region for reasons of supply line. So, how many do we have here? We got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. We got like 11 things. So we could also drop some off and continue to move. I think that's what we want to do. We want to maintain supply lines and get as many forces out there as possible. So Caesar will come with. We will take some legions. Why not take them all? I do want to leave a warband behind so we retain control of this. Actually, let's leave 2 behind. Just so that's 1 loss point, and if we needed to battle, we could eliminate that. And everything else is going to come with. So let's drop off. So we need 6 things. Man, I don't know about this, actually. This is getting kind of dicey. But, okay, that's fine. And Caesar's going to march with us to go boopity-bop. And the Averni and the Aedui get a chance to harass our troops because we moved through. The issue is, though, they can only harass if they have 3. It's one loss for every 3 hidden warbands. And they only have 2, and the Aedui only has 1. So they're not going to get the chance to harass. So I think... and this still counts as 1 origin region, so we didn't fail to do a limited command. This is still a limited command. We chose 1 origin region and we moved out from there. Thankfully, it isn't like the other coin games where it's by destination, because that would have been 2. In any case, we have 3 pieces here to Verni's 2, so we take control of this, as well as 6 pieces here to the other 5 pieces. So we'll take control of those. And that costs 2 resources per origin region. So down to 13. No special abilities because, well, it's a limited command. And that's what we have to live with. But now we've got this beautiful supply line into here. If we can actually move these forces down here, we'll finally have supply line through the whole area. So I'm liking that. This is good. And Vercingetorix is still far away in the north. Beautiful. Okay, so we will adjust our eligibility and draw the next card, which is going to be Correas. And... Convictolitavis. 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 I'm just going to keep saying it over and over and saying it incorrectly each time. This is a capability, so it's a power that can be used for the rest of the game, and it looks like the Averni are going to get first crack at it, and then we'll get second crack at it, but judging by the fact that the AI wouldn't take this card, I don't know if we will. And yeah, the Averni might take it to double the cost of... We'll see. Anyway. Belgic players up first. Let's see what the event is. They would do the shaded version of the event if they were to do it. So the shaded version is in Atrabatis they can remove 2 allies and place up to 2 allies and then free rally anywhere in the... Man, they probably really want to do this. Because here's Atrabatis. They could replace 1 of ours, add in 2 of theirs. That gives them a ton of victory points. And then they get to free rally somewhere up there, so get a bunch more forces in the game too. Is Ambiorix or 4+, where they have... This is true, yes. It's true only in... this region up here, Morini. But I bet you, dollars to donuts, they're not going to actually attack. Ambiorix doesn't meet the condition because there aren't any enemies there. Oh, but we do check for... They could ambush, in which case there would be no counterattack. So I think they actually might do that. Because we want to do this. The only place where they can battle is... Well, they could battle here too, but I think they don't want to battle the Germans because the Germans are kind of on their side. So we'll see. Fight other non-Germans, yeah. So they're not going to fight there at all. There's only one location that meets the requirements, and they're going to check for the ambush. And again, just to show you, the ambush happens anywhere with more... Oh, they need more hidden Belgae than the hidden defenders, and within one region of Ambiorix. Ah, gosh, I didn't think about that. So... the only place within one region of Ambiorix that has any troops at all is down here. So they're not going to ambush because this is 2 away. And they have fewer hidden warbands than hidden defenders. So no ambush. I guess thematically that makes sense. You can only really ambush that way. So they're going to fight enemies meeting the condition at the left. But again, they need... fewer. Yeah, they need to inflict losses, more losses on the opponent. They can inflict 2 losses, whereas the Arverni can inflict a ton. So this is going to be a no, actually. No, or I think it goes this way. If none, march. I mean, we went this direction, so I think we'll go this direction now. Otherwise, they would play the event, but it looks like they might march. I know they want to play the event. Let me just double check. Yep, sure enough, in the rules, they do go this direction. And then if this doesn't work, either if the priorities don't work out here, then they might play the event. I was just thinking like there was no connection down to the event, so I was concerned that they were just going to outright deny the event. Moves with all warbands and leaders, split no origin. Okay, from regions that meet the upper left and leaders region, if not already with the largest. Okay. So yeah, they're going to march from this area that they're basically going to retreat out of this region that meets the condition, it looks like. It's not a retreat. I shouldn't call it that. It's a march, but they're going to run away. 2, at least one region, up to the number of origin regions, not any origin regions. 2, at least one region, up to the number of origin regions, not any origins. Does that make sense to anyone else? Let me double check in the rules what that means. Okay, so yeah, I should be taking some extra time to actually think about this, but it's saying don't march into any regions that were selected as origin regions. So we're going to select some origin regions in the from, and we're not going to march to any of those. And we're going to go to at least one region up to the total number of origin regions. So if we selected 3 origin regions, then the first place we would march from could go up to 3 other locations, and then the other ones would go nowhere. Or actually, they could go there as well. We only have 1 in this case, so they're going to go just to 1 region, and we don't have to worry about that as much. They're going to move to regions within one of the most regions that have Belgae. So it looks like they could either go here or here to try to get closer to where they have the most. Within one, yeah, 2 regions within one of the most regions have Belgae. So this is within one of the most regions with Belgae, because it's within range of 2 regions that have Belgae forces. This region is only within range of one. Within one region of one region. I know that it's super confusing to say it out loud. Two regions, move two regions that are within one region of the most regions that have Belgae. So I think that what that's saying is, here's a region, it's within one of two regions that have Belgae. So they want to march here, but they can't because it's too far away. And then secondly, to add the most Belgic control. Let me just triple check again. I know I've already looked at the rules like 3 times, but it's okay. Okay. So this first sentence isn't super important because this is what we were talking about earlier. But within these restrictions, they march so that each marching group ends within a distance of one region, same or adjacent to, the most regions that have Belgic pieces possible. So that doesn't mean the most on the map. It's just the most possible. So here they would be within one region of a bunch of one region that has Belgic forces. Same with here. So I think they will end up marching. I know, I feel like this is one of those critical moments where like the Belgic player can turn it around if they would just be able to play the event. And I'm confused about how the March text is. So I'm going to try to go with it. It just says the most possible. Most regions that have Belgae within one of the most regions that have. You know, but the player aid. Within these restrictions, they march so that each marching group ends within a distance of one region, same or adjacent, to the most regions that have Belgic pieces possible. I don't know. I'm going to have to look this up on Board Game Geek. I think because the smartest thing for them to do would be, honestly, to play the event. I think I'm going to rule that since they can't march to this region, or this region, it'd be the same or adjacent to, then they're not going to march. I think they're just going to abandon these people up here. Even if they marched, like, they're still not going to gain control. They're not going to do anything. It doesn't honestly behoove them to do that. If it were a destination region, maybe, like, you could say, here's the destination region and converge. But yeah, I'm just going to make a rule, and you can point out in the comments that I'm wrong all day, and that's perfectly acceptable. I would love to learn how that rule is actually supposed to work. But I think we're going to say none, and this one's false. They can play the event, yes. They're going to do the event. I just think that's the better move for them. So, and they'll do the shaded. And so remove 2 allies from Atrebates region. Belgic place up to 2 allies there, then free rally in 1 Belgica region. So if we look at the chart for that, because it does have special instructions for Corius. Corius. It says, unless adding a total number of Belgic allies plus citadels, they're adding to the total number of allies. Okay, then treat as no Belgae. Okay, so they're just saying, basically, if they were already 3 Belgic allies there, don't bother. Or like they're not going to end up actually adding any of their own. Don't bother. But here they are. They're going to remove our Roman one, which sucks. Doesn't change our victory condition because it's still subdued right now. But then they're going to place 2 of their own. 1, 2, and they get 2 points for that because allies count for them. They're still not in control, but then they also get to free rally in 1 Belgica region. The only, I mean, they've got the symbol here. That's their hometown, home region in all the Belgica regions, which means they get to rally there no matter what, even if they have no allies. They just get one warband. But the bots always choose to do what's most effective. So they're going to rally in this region here because they have 2 allies there, so they get to place 2 warbands instead of just the 1. So they'll do that. And now they have 4 pieces. We still have 7, 8 pieces. So we still have control of that. So we're good. Then we did the event. Sorry. So we're not going to do a special ability. And this is going to be like the turning point of the game because I messed up the march rules and I didn't want to do it. But that's fine. So now that Edui are up, they're going to do a command and special ability. Or they might actually pass because they're up next on the next card. So let's take a peek. Take a peeksy-poo. All right. Are they first on the upcoming card, but not on the current? Okay, let's see if they roll a 1 through 4. We'll grab their die. And they get a 4. So, they pass. Easy. And when they pass, they get 1 resource, and they remain eligible. So let's track that now. That's their resource. At 17, they remain eligible. That's all the eligible forces on this card, so we'll shuffle the eligibility now. Belgic player is the only one that's not. And we'll play this card. And we're going to get boned on the eligibility here because the Edui passed. That's okay. What's next? After that, joined ranks. Wow, the AI don't like this card. That's like, no, nobody wants it. Anyway, we'll see how that goes next time. I'm going to double check. Oh, I don't think when the Belgic player added those, I don't think we did take these away yet. So I'll double check control as well as victory conditions, etc. off camera. But we made it through a couple of more cards. I do think that because this deck is so whoppingly big, and you know, we're only in the first winter card, and this is a 4 winter campaign, and this is already video 8. I think I am going to take out the last campaign card, or not campaign, winter card. So we just have a little bit smaller of a deck, and this series won't go on for eternity. However, I do want to mention that at some point in the future, once all the coin games are wrapped up, said and done, I would like to come back to Falling Sky and play through the expansion, the Ariovistus expansion. And I'm considering doing a super long series where we go through, there's instructions in the Ariovistus rulebook that talk about how you can go from the Ariovistus, like full campaign, and then start the base game and go from there and take off from there. And you can do the long scenario from there if you like. I mean, that's going to be really pushing it in terms of length. And somebody might win before then, so who knows. But that is on the docket. It's something I would like to do once we get through all of the coin games. I know we're only on the second one. But yeah, and I haven't given too much thought about what I want to do after this one. I think Andean Abyss is a good candidate. It's one of the simpler ones. It's closer to Cuba Libre. I think the bots aren't quite as ferocious. Another option is going to be Colonial Twilight, because that's a 2-player one, so there's only 1 bot to manage. Or Gandhi, because they use the cards instead of the flowcharts, and that might make it a little easier as well. I do have the Trung bot for Fire in the Lake too. I was saving Fire in the Lake for later, just because I know it's definitely like one of the more complicated ones. That one and Pendragon are extremely complex. So I was going to save Fire in the Lake for the end, even though there's the simplified version of the bots through the cards. Anyway, sorry for ranting, over time. You don't need to hear that. But yeah, I think we're all set up for the next video. So until next time, happy gaming, and hope you're enjoying the show. Bye.